67 counties in Oklahoma. I can put reports in them in 66 counties.
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was?
I'd say it was a person or somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Welcome back to Squatch Ranger Files, Episode 19. We have a native Oklahoma Bigfoot research organization sightings database. If you are enjoying any of these stories on Squatch Ranger Files, please go to our database. The link to that website will be provided in the description of this video. Go ahead and check out all of our Bigfoot reports at the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization database. Also, you can become a patron. If you like the videos that I've been providing to you guys, please check me out on patreon.com. The link to my Patreon site will be provided in the description of this video. Okay guys, let's start Squatch Ranger Files, Episode 19. Number 1. Creature spotted in woods behind house. 1981, Class A, daytime sighting. Morris County, New Jersey. June 17th, 3 miles northeast of Chester, New Jersey. Time, 4:30 p.m. I had just recently graduated early from high school and had just gotten home from enlisting in the military. Nobody home but me and my 2 dogs, Smokey, my golden retriever, and Misty, our black mutt. I let them both out. Smokey stayed in the yard, as usual, and Misty hauled butt into the woods, as usual. The house had been built 3 years ago and had woods behind it, and even though I was very into researching, etc., it never occurred to me at that time that I would worry about seeing one there. Just knew eventually it might happen. I put Smokey back inside and hung around waiting for Misty. Most likely, she would need a bath anyway from rolling in whatever crap pile she happens to find. About 15 minutes later, she wasn't back yet, so I decided to wander around in the woods and see what she was up to. So, I headed southeast from the house, down one of the paths that sort of headed toward the creek that was about a half a mile away. Bright, partly sunny day, not much wind. I got about 500 yards from the house, kind of near the creek, and stopped for a minute. The house was off my left shoulder and the river was behind me. I was looking around, seeing if I could see her anywhere. Then a very loud growl came from my right. First, I thought that 1 or 2 of the big dogs that are up the hill had gotten out. A few seconds later, a second, shorter growl. And at that time, I start having a really interesting conversation with myself. That wasn't a dog. Should I look? No. Yes. Look. Third growl. Every muscle in my body, every hair tried to move every direction at once. I couldn't move. After a few seconds, I turned to the right. About 15 feet away, there was a group of 3 pine trees. I walked over there and got inside there and looked up. The trees in this area were spaced pretty far apart and were small saplings to trees up to about 6 feet. About 60 yards away, a large copper hair covered thing was standing there, looking at me by a berry bush. About 6.5 feet tall, copper color hair. It stared at me. I stared at it for about 45 seconds. Then I left very quickly. I got back to the house and went up on the back porch, where I found Misty. She was sitting by the back door, shaking so hard the deck was moving, foam on the corners of her mouth. I asked her, "Did you see that?" Her nose turned to the right and was on a direct line to where it was, even though from the house you couldn't see it. I put her inside and hung around on the porch for a few minutes, having another discussion with myself. I went back into the woods, returned to the pine trees, and looked in the same direction. Nothing. I slowly started to walk over there. I got about halfway. Crack! Branch broke. I left. Follow up. Bigfoot investigators report. I spoke with the witness via the internet. I asked him why he thought Bigfoot were in this particular area and how could they survive. He replied, plenty of food from the Black River, which was about 300 yards south of where it was. This sighting is also near the Black River Wildlife Management Area, which is located in Chester Township, New Jersey, United States. This wildlife management area is over 3,000 acres and includes diverse landscape with plentiful flora and fauna. The wildlife management area is named for the Black River, which passes through the area. This area might serve as a perfect spot for Bigfoot to thrive with great hiding places and great food sources. This case is now closed. Number 2. Glimpse of creature crossing road. 2017. Class A daytime sighting. Lexington County, South Carolina. Date: April 23rd, 2017. Location: 3/4 of a mile southwest of Chapin, South Carolina. It was Sunday, a little after 6 a.m. I usually get up on Sunday and head to town with my laundry since the house I was renting didn't have a washer and dryer. Didn't really feel like it, but got up anyway, loaded car up and headed into town, which was about 15 to 20 minutes from the house. It was still relatively dark out as I headed that way on a somewhat twisty and lightly forested road on both sides and some houses here and there along the way. The sun was still a ways off, and I still had my headlights on. There are a few decent turns just outside of town, and I was just about to follow the road to the right. I knew I was because there was one of those arrowed curved signs on the right side just before the turn. All of a sudden, quicker than a blink, a left foot with a leg attached to it landed just past the left double yellow line. I saw the foot flex off the ground, maybe around an inch or so. Then the foot and the leg with it was gone. This was so fast. If I had been looking anywhere else, or playing with the radio, or looking in my rearview mirror, I doubt I would have seen it. Amazingly fast. The leg was copper colored, and I also saw the hair on the back of the leg streaming behind, maybe 3 inches long. I only saw below what I would call the knee area. I pulled off the road into the grass, taking a few minutes to collect my thoughts and to make sure there wasn't any traffic headed my way. I got out of the car and walked to the right to where the trees and some brush started off the edge of the road. I didn't have a tape measure or anything, but from the brush and trees, it was approximately 45 feet to the center of the road, where I saw the foot land, and the toes landed about 3 inches off the left double line. I crossed over the road to the west side, and did the same, and came up with about 40 feet back to the center off the road. Obviously, if it was a deer, I would have seen it bounding across the road. Raccoon? Wouldn't land 45 feet from the trees, and definitely not have a foot that I would estimate at about 13 inches. And if it was a deer or some kind of normal animal, it might have been chased by something else. I crossed back over to the car and then rechecked the area on the east side of the road for any possible tracks or any indication of its passing, and found a few small bushes had been disturbed, but not conclusive, and the same on the other side of the road, I stayed there a few more minutes, then headed the rest of the way into town. Number 3. The following is a BFRO documented report. Early morning sighting on US 59 near Poto, 2012, in LaFleur County, Oklahoma. I was driving down Highway 59 from Heavener to Poto. I turned right on County Road 133, and about 100 feet onto the street, on the right side of the road, was a huge figure, standing about 7 feet plus, on the side of the road, kind of hunched over, and I guess when it saw my lights, it spooked him, 'cause it ran off into the trees. I slowed down to see what it was. Don't know where it went after that, 'cause it spooked me. There was a loud growl when I slowed down to see what it was. It was night, and to me, it was pretty clear. There is a bunch of trees on both sides of the road, and a big pasture to the right, and the highway turnoff lane is to the left. Follow-up investigation report by a BFRO investigator. After meeting SR, he drove the two of us to the location, which is less than a half a mile from Carl Albert State College. Here are a few other things my investigation has brought to light. SR was on his way home from working an overnight shift at work, driving north. The animal was spotted on the left side of the road, moving to his right or east at a slight angle away. He was adamant on the height of the animal. It was a dark brown or black, with long hair covering the entire body. It had no neck. He also described a hunched-over, gliding walk with arms swinging. He was unable to make any facial features out, and it only took 3 to 4 steps to go from ditch to ditch. He tried to reproduce this for me, and it took 7 to 8 steps to achieve the same distance, at the same angle it traveled. There was a clear open spot in the tree fence line where it disappeared. On the other side of this fence tree line is a pretty large field, with wooded areas that surround the field on nearly all sides. The fence is a standard 3-strand barbed wire fence. As SR approached the spot where he had seen the animal cross, he heard a very loud growl. When asked about the growl, he described it as like a bear growl, or roar, but much louder and a little different. He was going very slow with all 4 windows down, and the radio was off as he looked to see where the animal had gone, or if it was still there. SR seems to be a very credible witness, who has never really given much thought to the existence of Bigfoots. He is a hard-working family man who wants to stay anonymous.